Good day guys, and welcome to my hurricane update and also weather update. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a full detailed weather forecast for the US, and I'm also going to be giving you guys a tropical update in this forecast. So guys, stay tuned to see what's going to happen. So in this video I'm mainly going to be talking about the tropics and also a potential snowstorm that might be headed towards the US. So guys, I'm going to be talking about all of that in this video. Be minded that there's going to be uncertainties in this forecast. So guys, I'm not going to pay attention to any severe weather threat as there's also the potential for severe weather, but that's going to be in my next forecast that I'm going to be issuing tomorrow. So as we begin to run the models, we do not see any snowstorm. But when we get out around a time frame between November 13th, we see this is 216 hours out, very far out. We see that a very good storm system comes in and starts to move into portions of the US East Coast. So you can see 996 millibar, very good amount of moisture with it. So we're going to continue to run the model to see if this produces any snow. So as we continue to run the model, we see that it starts to produce very heavy snow, especially to the north of this system. So in areas like West Virginia and also Virginia is getting in some very heavy snow. You could see that there's snow in those areas. You could see you could see some very isolated snow, and also you could see that there's very heavy rains in those areas. So areas north of Virginia and also areas to the west of West Virginia, you could see that there is some very heavy snow in those areas. You could see that mainly on the eastern side of this there is some very heavy rains that is associated with this storm system. So as we continue to run the model, we see that this continues to produce very heavy snow. Now this is when our threat comes in. You could see that along areas of Virginia is getting whipped with very heavy snow. As a matter of fact, that extends all the way down to the south of Virginia. So you can see in those areas are getting in on some very heavy snow, and this is around November 14th. Be minded that there is uncertainties with this, and also you can see also to the north of that area there's just this huge blob of snow in those areas. So if you live in the US, anywhere between Virginia and also New York, those areas, you should be looking at those systems that come out of the western US, because the models have been pretty consistent on a potential snowstorm that could be taking place. So as we continue to get farther out into the future, we see that our system starts to move towards the north, and it starts to affect areas mainly to the west of Virginia. So you can see that our snow situation is getting worse in Virginia. As a matter of fact, it got bigger. You could see it extends all the way into those areas surrounding Virginia. So you could see that there's some very heavy snow, especially in those higher elevations, and you could see that there's also mixed rain comes in with this. So if this does happen, there could be the potential for some very heavy rains and also damaging winds and the potential for snow, as the models are forecasting this huge storm system comes from this area, then comes in and then causes very dangerous problems around those areas, especially in Virginia. So you can see that this is our storm system that we're going to be looking at. Although this system has not affected Virginia, and although this system has not moved in yet, we should be looking at this because models have been pretty consistent on a potential snow system that might be coming in. And guys, this is pretty expected for this time of the year, because we could know we're getting closer to December. We start to see the atmosphere start to cool down, and also we would normally see that we have these lots of snowstorms that start to occur, which is normal. So you can see this is normal for November, but just that I'm telling you guys that we're getting closer towards getting a snowstorm very soon. So especially in the eastern US, you can see this whole entire area is getting in on some very heavy snow, which means that especially if you guys live in the northeastern US, you should be looking at the potential for some snow within the next 14 days. As I said, the models have been very consistent on this, and also it has become a trend now. And as I said, it's not really certain that this is going to happen, but as I said previously guys, we should be looking at this because we do not know what could happen also. So guys, we have to watch closely on this because the models are forecasting potentially a snow system to affect Virginia and also areas surrounding Virginia. So you guys, if you live in Virginia and also areas surrounding Virginia, that includes New York and those areas, West Virginia, you should be looking at this potential system. So guys, I'm going to keep you guys updated on this, and now we're going to move over towards the tropics. So now guys, as we move over towards the tropics, I have been noticing that models have been starting to trend towards a potential system that might be headed towards Florida within the next 48 hours or so. So you can see this is our subtropical or tropical system that we might be looking at that could be headed towards Florida. Although this has not yet been labeled by the National Hurricane Center, we should be looking on it, because whether this system forms or not, there's going to be very heavy rains and also damaging winds that could be coming with this. So guys, we should be looking at this and paying interest into this, especially like it's in the close range. So guys, the more closer it is, the more we should be paying attention to this. And also this is going to be bringing the threat for severe weather, which means that you guys could be expecting very heavy rains, damaging winds, and also the potential for isolated tornadoes that could be moving inland, and also those very bad water sports. So guys, we should be looking at this, and I'm going to continue to monitor this, because as I said, it has become a trend in the model. Now we're going to look into the more environmental conditions in the Gulf of Mexico, because if this was form, it would have to interact with some very unfavorable weather conditions. As a matter of fact, there's a ton of wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico, which is going to influence the development of this system, which means that if this system does center form, it's going to be subtropical, and the center of circulation is going to be generally displaced. We're not going to have a focused center of circulation. We're going to have just this displaced area, but we're going to have some low-level spin. But as I said, the amount of moisture that is associated with this, or is going to be associated with this in the future, is not going to be concentrated in one area. It's just going to be elongated, and also it's going to be very disorganized. But guys, with disorganized system, we could still see some very disorganized system produce very heavy rains and also damaging winds with this. And also, as I said, there's a potential for tornadoes that's going to be coming with this. Water temperature seems to be cooling down in the Gulf of Mexico as of now, and I'm going to show you guys a presentation of that. So guys, as we move over towards the latest sea surface temperature anomaly for the Gulf of Mexico, we could clearly see that the water temperatures are cooling down in the Gulf of Mexico, which is something good. But this system is going to take more and more southern dip, which is going to allow the system to intensify stronger. So if this system takes more of a southern dip, or if it takes a more northern dip, if this system takes a more northern dip, it's going to be interacting with more cooler water temperatures, while if it takes a more southern dip, it's going to be interacting with generally more warmer water temperatures, because you can see in the southern Gulf of Mexico, the water temperatures are warm enough to support tropical development, but on shore of areas like Texas and Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle, the water temperatures are just not favorable for tropical development. So if this system takes a more southern dip into the Gulf of Mexico, the more stronger it's going to get. But this system is going to approach this general area, and water temperature seems to be warm in that area, which means that it might try to develop when it gets into this area, and also wind shear might be decreasing. So guys, we should be looking at that. Regardless of what, we're going to continue to pay attention for that. And also, when we look into the Caribbean, we see that water temperatures are generally warm enough to support development of any tropical system at this point. So now with that, we're going to move over towards the discussion in the Caribbean. So guys, I'm going to be talking about the Caribbean now. While in the Caribbean, around November 9th, the models are forecasting that there could potentially be a tropical system in the Caribbean. Now, everything seems to be sort of uncertain right now, but models are forecasting and are agreeing that there could potentially be a Caribbean system around November 9th to November 28th. So guys, we're going to have to closely watch the Caribbean, because the models are forecasting that a system could potentially form in the Caribbean. But as I said, nothing is certain as of this point. So water temperatures and also sea surface anomaly seems to be favorable in the Caribbean. So things might be favorable in the Caribbean. So guys, if any system does attempt to develop, it might try to intensify. So you can see this is our tropical system, and you can see it has a good amount of moisture with it. And also this might be the low level center. I'm not agreeing in a tropical depression or a tropical storm, because as I said, everything seems uncertain at this point, and it doesn't even seem to be a tropical storm, by the way. So guys, we're going to have to pay close attention to this. Regardless of what, we're going to keep an eye on the tropics and also an eye on these systems that are going to form. So with that, I'm going to close off today's video. We have discussed about the potential snowstorm and also the potential two systems that could form in November. So guys, either one of these systems could get the name Andrea. While I do think that if the system does form in the Gulf of Mexico, it has two shots of development, one just off the east coast and also one in the Gulf of Mexico. So guys, we're going to pay close attention to that. So thank you guys for watching this video.